Welcome all, Bern here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed. We got this C down. We're just looking on the lower time frames to see if this is over or not. Still expecting a little bit more downside. There was a couple of scenarios last week that I was talking about. This was looking very corrective in here, and I was looking at an A, B, C, but because this was looking so corrective, there was also an alternate count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we come and break this low before we get the 3 or 5 up in here for that complex correction. That 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I've been looking at for a long time. So it's really a sell at this stage, but there is no sell set up on it. We sort of have an impulse down here and an impulse here. So there's a couple of different scenarios here. We can get a correction in here and 3 up in here before we get more downside, or we get uh well or we can get sort of an impulse up in here, a correction, and 1 up in here for a larger flat. So then we get like an A, B, C, those 3 up, like I've been showing for a long time. But yeah, so it's going to be quite difficult. There is really no. You could look for a buy, but it's only going to be a scalp. Like this impulse here, you get 3 up in here. But yeah, ideally you get a nice correction in here, and then you could look for a sell to go and break the low. AU on the daily, nothing's changed. We're getting this C up in here. It still a lot of room up to that 100 fib. The H4 has been getting very difficult in here. We had a larger correction here. We broke the top and got another larger correction. We're getting all this bearish divergence, so very risky to start to trade up the top here. H1, we still can get another wave 5 up in here. I'd like to see some sort of a little correction in here. Another one down, just breaking this low, not breaking this low, and then give us that wave 5 up. It's not ready yet. It does have a bull hidden here. That's why I'm looking for a wave 5 up. But again, like I said, really need correction in here. Another one down, breaking this low, and then look for your buy setup for that wave 5. GU on the daily, nothing's changed. We can still get up to this 100 fib here, this green one. This one here, we got a wave C down in here. This was looking very corrective. But I'm looking at that A, B, a C. We're still in this wave C down in here. This is very tricky as well. I mean, it's very similar to AU on the H1. Most of them are, but we got a bull hidden here. It's not confirmed. So we got like 1, 2, 3, very sharp move down in here. So I need a correction in here. Another one down, just breaking that low without breaking this low here. And then you could look for a wave 5 up. Other than that, if this looks very corrective in here, you could look for a sell. Yeah, that bull hidden there. I would really like to see, this low here broken first, taking out that bull hidden, and then give you a correction to sell. That'd be the safer way. Or else, yeah, this still can go up and give us a wave 5 here with that bull hidden present. EU, it's just about up to this 100 fib. On the H4, we never got this C down. Instead, this was looking very bullish here. And again, this is a buy. This may turn motive, here. I've got it as motive, but need this correction first. So we got a nice impulse up from a low. So I'm looking for a correction, ideally back to the 50 fib. A nice complete correction in here. And then on the lower time frames, I'd be looking for a buy for a wave 3 or a wave C. Yeah. NU on the daily, still looking for a little bit more upside up to that 100 fib, ideally. We got this nice impulse up from a low in here. We had that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 down in here. So we got a complete correction in here, and we're getting a nice impulse up in here. So I'd be looking for the buy. It's like many of the others on the H1. We got that 1, 2, 3. We're getting a bull hidden in here. Like I said, on the others, I'd like a little correction in here. Another one down, just breaking this low, and then looking for a bullish setup for that wave 5. GY on the daily still can get a little bit more upside up to this 100 fib. Excuse me. Really looking at the lower time frame here, it's getting very risky. We're getting all this bearish divergence. It's still looking very much bullish up the top here. But it's extremely risky to buy. Once we start to get all that bearish divergence, there's really not much on it at all. If anything, it's a sell. It's sort of got 3 down in here. That's what I don't really like. May get another one up in here, some sort of an A, B, C, then an A, B, C up in here before you get another one down. It's quite difficult because, sort of got like 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, get a 3 in here. Can turn quite complex, this correction. So before it goes, I would be staying out of it altogether, especially with all that bearish divergence at this stage. I'd be leaving it well alone. UY would just been really looking at the lower time frames because, like I've mentioned many times, this low here has not been broken over here. So whatever's happening in here is corrective, and we've been looking at a possible structure down in here, corrective structure on the lower time frame. Been looking at this for a long time. So we got this wave C up in here for that like 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for that 1, 2, this 3 down in here, and then get 3 or 5 up in here before we get more downside, breaking the low. Starting to come down here, and then it's shot back up again. So there was a couple of scenarios here last week too. On the H1, we got those 5 up. We got an impulse correction. This can be a flat in here like I showed last week, and we get an A, B, C before we get like 5, 3, 5, or we get this C down. This turns motive like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is turning out to be quite a large flat. If it does turn out to be a running or expanding flat, well, pretty much has to be a running flat, because if it's expanding flat, it's going to go up and break the top. It's really just scalping. There's no sell on it for this C down. And more than likely it's a buy on the lower time frames. Yeah. Yeah, this is still looking bullish in here. There's no sell set up on it, so, I'd be staying well out of it. UCAD, we're looking for this time factor in here. Like I've been saying for a long time, on the lower time frames here, you could be scalping, but it's really only scalping. I'm not looking for this wave 5 up anymore, because this wave 4's come very deep. It hasn't quite broken that low yet. Looking on the lower time frames, it's looking corrective on the H4. You can see what I'm looking at here, a flat, like an A, B. We get a C up in here, possibly up to the 100 fib. We'll see how far this goes. It may turn motive and get up to this 161.8, but we'll see how it goes. We got a nice impulse here. Excuse me. So we could possibly look for a buy. I don't really like it, because this here, contracting flat, but we got an impulse here. So, if you got a nice correction in here, you could look to buy. Looking at that 100 fib for your first target. But I'd be waiting to see what sort of correction you get in here. I wouldn't be wanting a very deep correction. I'd just be looking for a nice correction up the top here, and then looking for a buy. It's just scalping though, The Swissy, looking at the A, B, C here, there's still possibly more room down to this 100 fib. Really looking at the lower time frames, like many of the others. This is possibly 5 down in here too. There was that alternate count. This was looking very corrective. And so we can get that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down before we get 3 or 5 up for that complex correction, before we get more downside. So it's looked like it's fallen over in here. It hasn't broken the low yet, but it was one of the alternatives last week I was showing you guys. If I can get my internet to work. So we come from a top here. This, like I said, this was looking very choppy last week. It's come from a top here, giving us a nice impulse down. This is looking corrective in here. So you could look for, just to break the low, basically. It's, you're selling right at a low, but it is bearish. So you could give it a go. Ideally, it'd get down to this 100 fib here for you on the daily. So yeah, maybe worth your time to have a look at that one. EG, nothing's changed on this. Pretty much staying out of it now. Like I said last week, it's already gone. We're looking for this wave 5. Well, that 1, 2, 3, 4. We had that bull hidden in there. We're looking for this wave 5 up to go and break that top. It's pretty much just about gone and broken that top. So you're not buying up here. You're leaving it alone. You're either in it or you're not at this stage. I think it may have actually broken the top. So it's already... Yeah, it has. It has actually broken the top. So we've got the wave 5. So yeah, there's not much you can do here. H4, we're still in this wave 3. Last week we were around this 100 fib and we were sort of bouncing off that. It still looked bullish, but whether you wanted to give it a go becomes quite risky, you know. But yeah, we're still in this wave 3, like we were showing last week. So yeah, this can get up to that 161.8, give us a correction in this wave 4 and give us a wave 5 up. The safest way now is to wait for this wave 4. And then we can look for a wave 5 up, buy a wave 5 up. It's a patience game now, unless you're just going to scalp in here. You know, yeah, it's already broke. Excuse me, it's already broken this top here, this wave 3 on the daily. So, you know, I would be waiting for this wave 4 before I'd even attempt to buy it. Again, WTI. This is very complex correction in here. Overall, on the weekly, you know, I'm looking at that a B, and a C. We're getting a correction in here. I'm looking at that a B, and a C down in here with that A, B, C here. This is looking bearish in here. So I'm hoping it goes, but yeah, it's very slow. It's trying to go, but it just hasn't gone. Last week we were looking at this as bearish. It's playing around. You've got to be very careful here, and this is the reason why. I'll show you guys. We got a very corrective wave in here. It come down, broke through the trend line, went straight back above that trend line, and it's sort of, this can be a flat, like an a B, and get a C in here, a flat in here, and you get an A, B, C, and then you get like choppy wave, a B wave, and then another one up before you get more downside. So this can be a lot more complex. You really got to be careful here. Like I said, this can just give you one down in here, just break these lows here, give you another one up for a flat here, and then you give you that A, B, C. Why? Because this trend line here was broken. This trend line here got broken, clearly broken, and price come back above it in an impulsive wave. Ideally, when we get an impulse down breaking a trend line, we just get a correction in here, not going back above that trend line, and then it's a nice sell. But instead, this could turn more complex like I just showed you guys. So yeah, keep that in mind if you're looking to sell this. It can turn more complex before it actually goes. Gold, we're right up the top of the market, right up the top in this wave 3. We're waiting for this time factor here, like I've been going over for months and months and months now. So I'm looking at that complex correction, looking for 3 or 5 down in here, like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I have been for a very long time. I've been going over this complex correction for this 333 or 335 for, you know, pretty much ever since we had these 3 down in here and we didn't go up and break to the top with that. I've been looking at that 333 or 335 ever since then, when this wave here didn't go up and break that top. So I've been looking at this for a very long time. Nothing's changed. I'm still looking for 3 or 5 down in here. 3 or 5 down in here. This is still looking very corrective in here. So it's still possible that that complex correction plays out. We do have a bull hidden here, so we may still even get another one up in here. And we get like 1, 2, 3, a flat in here, like an A, a B, a C in here flat. And then you get 1, 2, 3 up in here. It may even go and break that top. It doesn't matter. It's still a complex correction. I'd still be looking at a complex correction, and then I'll be looking at an A, B, C, or W, X, Y, X, Z, like a three or 5 in here. So yeah, at this stage it's very difficult. Ideally, this comes down, breaks this low here, and gives you a correction. Then you could look for downside, like for 3 down, or it may, like I've been mentioning, it may even turn into 5 down, but you'd be looking for at least 3 down here. But at this stage, because we have that bull hidden here, you've got to be very careful. I show in my group how to trade all these, to keep you out of trouble. Yeah, it's a unique system that I teach. So silver's has played out. There's nothing to do on this. We got that 5 up, larger correction, and we're in an A wave now. You really got to wait for a B wave, and then you could trade a wave C up. You're not looking for buys up the top here. Well, we've already got the 5 up on the H4. It does still look rather bullish here. Like this can be a flat here, and we still get another one up in this wave 5. But yeah, really, I would be waiting for a nice correction before I'd look for buys again. Like we got a nice impulse up, so 50 fib of that, I'd be looking for some sort of a nice correction. 3 down before I'd start to buy. You really need a correction. Other than that, you're just scalping into this B wave. A sell, well, at this stage, there is no sell on it. If I just go down to the H1, you'll see here that this can be a flat, and you got to be very careful here. We got an impulse down, just breaking the top here in the B wave, and we sort of get 3 or 5 down in here. We're getting a bull hidden here, so this can be a flat. So you may get a buy set up on it. If you get 5 down in here on the lower time frame, bullish setup, you could look to buy. It's just scalp to go and break the top again. Bitcoin right up the top of the market here, very similar to silver. This is very similar to silver. We got the 5 up, larger correction. We've gone up and broken the top. Still looking very much bullish up the top there. We've got that A, B, C on the H4. This, like I just mentioned, this is looking very much bullish still. You could scalp the buys going with the trend here, but yeah, it's up to you. We do have a complete correction here now by the look of it. We've got like an A, a B, and a C. So if you go down onto the lower time frames, you get a bullish setup. You definitely could buy it just to go and break that top, scalping really. S&P 500 right up the top of the market. We got this we got the 5 up, larger correction, expanding flat, and we've already gone up and broken the top. It's really just scalping on the lower time frames now. Sort of been looking at this like A, B, C up in here. It's on the H1. So yeah, I mean it's already completed pretty much. So you're getting bearish divergence and all the rest of it here. I mean, you could try and trade it with the trend, but yeah, it becomes very risky. You want good setups to buy if you're going to buy with the trend, especially when it's right up the top here. AU200, this is really on the weekly. If I quickly go to the weekly, This is what I've been looking at on the weekly for, well, a very, very, very long time. And it's pretty much played out. We got that 5 down in here. Sort of got like an A, B, C here, and I'm looking for an A, a B, and a C. We've already broken the top, so, it should be over there somewhere, but yeah, so, yeah. If I can get my internet to work, there we go. Nothing's changed on the daily. Need a retracement. We've got a nice impulse up. We need a nice correction before I'd look to buy. Until I got this, yeah, which is, this will in itself would take a long time. It could take 1 or 2 years to get this correction. Really, you're just scalping, going with the trend here, and yeah, it becomes dangerous. We're getting all that bearish divergence on the H4. It's still looking bullish on the H1, sort of getting a regular flat here. Well, we've got a B wave in here, an A, B, C here. If you got little correction here on the lower time frames, you could look to buy just to break the top, scalping, So pretty much you can do with it at this stage. And they're all the same, these indices, pretty much. They're all very similar. This was the surprising one for me with this FTSE, because we did have 5 up here with bearish divergence on the daily. A nice impulse down. I was really hoping we'd just get a correction in here and give us 3 down. It didn't do that. Instead, it did go up and break the top like the rest of them. Again, there's really not much you can do here. We've already got all that bearish divergence on the H4. It's still bullish up here. It's just scalping, going with the trend. There's really not much to go over. Lastly, the DAX. This one had the bull hidden here, and we've gone up and broken the top. That arrow must be for something else. But yeah, pretty much waiting for a retracement in here. At this stage, well, we're looking for a correction. We'll probably get another one up in here because it's still looking bullish in here. So we sort of get an A, a B, and a C. Probably get a running or expanding flat in here before we get more upside, like an A, B, C. But again, I'd be waiting for a C down before it started to load up. Other than that, you're just scalping. You're just scalping up the top here. Yeah, I mean, this is still looking rather bullish. I don't really like it because, like, we sort of got 3 down in here, impulse up, and it's come straight back down. So you may get a buy out of it, but yeah, it becomes risky. I mean, as soon as this top gets broken, we're going to get even more bearish divergence. So yeah, hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.